The following presentation is for mature audiences only.
Who are you?
He's a fine man.
All hell is broken loose.
He's a great broadcaster.
He's a very powerful guy.
Absolutely brilliant.
Feared by men, adored by women.
He's a smart boy. It's patriotic.
It's no big deal.
It's the end of the world.
I might as well tell you now. He's a monkey.
And how you doing, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages? Welcome into another edition of The Wild Side with Eric Clark. I am Eric Clark, your host, saying thank you for taking time out of your holiday season to give my little video a watch and a listen. If you like it, like it. If you think other people are going to dig it, give it a share. Make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel and you hit that notification button. That way you know when we are live streaming every Wednesday at 11 a.m., Saturdays 2 p.m. And that way, if you've got a band, song, video, something you'd like me to make a video on, all you have to do is head to the Discord server I have linked down below, and everything that you need for The Wild Side with Eric Clark is right there on the Discord server put together by our lovely moderator, Tria. So if you have a band, video, something you want me to check out, or you would like to come work at our virtual medieval tavern, everything is right there on the Discord server. Just look over on the left, reaction request tab, hit there, read the rules, the pinned message, and then drop your link and a little bit of info with your band in there. So remember, head to the Discord server. If you would like to support the channel, help the channel grow, better equipment, more opportunities to make better content, there's a Patreon link down there as well. So help the channel grow. Before we get started today, thank you to Connect 200 Music to See and Aunt Betty's Nut Butter. Today we are back with the genius Arion Lucassen and Peter and Paul. I know, I just need a Mary. Would someone named Mary please go to the Discord and join so I have a Peter, Paul, and a Mary? Peter and Paul. Paul C. is the band leader in my medieval tavern. And Peter, I believe, is a bartender. And they have suggested I check out from the Arion Universe Live DVD. And the Druid, I almost said Turn to Stone because I got Joe Walsh in my head. And the Druids Turned to Stone. I believe this is Damian Wilson back on vocals. Let's check it out. It's Ayreon and the Druids Turned to Stone on the Wild Side. That's the other drummer. Snyder.
As we left the claim in silence, and the circle stood alone, as the Druids turned to stone. shadows creeping down the avenue into the heart of the sauce and truly thought. I marvel at this mystery. Beholder of the stars, a holy temple, a sacred burial ground, guarding well its secrets from us all.
Wow.
The moon sheds no light
Well done.
on the soul's very plain. The day turns to night, and the bonfire sees burning. The magic words were spoken as we leave the plain in silence, and the circle stands alone as the Druids turn to stone.
Well done. That is a very well done, well-crafted track right there. Arion and the Druids Turn to Stone with Damian Wilson on vocals. That is for Peter and Paul over at the Discord server. Again, if you have a video band song, something you want me to check out, head over to the Discord server, click over on the left where it says YouTube Reactions, drop a link and a little bit of info as where. This is about the 5th or 6th performance I've seen from this Ayreon universe. And I recognize the drummer, but I think his last name, because there's a J where it doesn't belong to an American. So I think it's Snyder or Snyder is how they pronounce his last name, because I had seen him, I think, in another performance. So I've been saying since being introduced to Arion Lucassen and his projects, whether it's Ayreon, Star One, Supersonic Revolution, he is the master of modern progressive rock. Whether you're talking progressive blues, progressive soul-based, progressive metal-based, progressive symphonic, excuse me, he knows exactly how to capture the progressive tone. And in this song in particular, the tone that's the tenor, and I don't mean vocal range, I mean the temperature, the attitude of the song. I wrote it down, and at first I was thinking, this is a great opposition song. And Damian does such a great job of carrying that weight, of having to be what I wrote down, the gentle storm. And that's what it is. This is a gentle storm song. It lulls you into this state of trance, and then it builds to this perfect crescendo at the perfect time. And it's carried through with an amazing guitar tone. I had seen him in the beginning. He had that slide, the finger. I'm going to call it the Dwayne Allman, because that's really, he's the one who made it popular, and it really comes from a Taj Mahal album, or the band Taj Mahal. And what that does when you're using a slide that is normally reserved for your country bluegrass, your more folkish type songs, when you create that slide tone in a progressive rock song, you're dragging in subtly the soul element, because rock is like soul, gospel, country, and it's like 5 or 6 different things all combining to create one specific tone. But what the slide creates is this really cool soulful tone. It creates the soul. And then when he continues that tone throughout his guitar playing in the song, it maintains the soulfulness while still creating the modernity of progressive rock. So it's very well, but again, I've said this about Arion Lucassen in the past. Music is layers. That's what it is. It's layers of sound. And the more creative somebody is, the more creative they're going to be with their sounds. And the reason I talk about that drummer, and I'm going to get to Damien here in a second, the reason I talk about the drummer, because, again, as usual, and I've noticed it in a lot of Arion songs, is that the drumming, whether it's Ed Warby or this gentleman here, is very subtly sneaky. Okay, I'm sorry if that is redundant. It's subtly intricate, if that makes sense. So when I talk about the right things at the right time, the drums are a really good example of that. Because until he starts banging the skins, so to speak, you kind of almost get lost in the cadence being set by the bass player, the acoustic guitar, and the drummer. Those are your bridge builders there. They're the arms of the band. They're doing the heavy lifting, creating the bridges and building the connections and keeping the tempo going. And the drums are the legs, and they pace you out, kind of, if you want to look at it like a human body. And it's really subtle how perfectly inserted each of them are, from the drums to the acoustic to the solo to the bass to the keys. Everything is harmonizing in this really cool, gentle way. And then when they all collide together in the explosion being led by Damien's vocals, it's not too much. There's no sharp edges. Nothing rattles the eardrum. Right? Because that's what will happen. If something's off, it sort of sets a rattle in your head. It becomes thin. It's very thick, very rich in the tone. And while it's clear and sharp itself, the edges of it, meaning the border of their space, no sharpness, no cutting is what I'm trying to say. And that's Damien's vocals right there, right? Because he's the one who's ebbing and flowing in his own vocal range to create that connection between the heavy and the light. His voice is the connection, the adherence between the heavy and the light, because he's doing it. He's gentle when he needs to be gentle, and the soul comes out. That gentle soul comes out. And then the deeper, darker aspects of the soul come through in that heavier drop. And then he comes back into that, it's okay, don't worry about it, kind of a soulfulness. I love his vocals. I think his vocals, for what he's doing with Arion, are perfect. Because I think what Arion does is he kind of has these sounds in his head, and he knows and trusts exactly who he needs to make that sound, whether it's a Steve Vai guitar solo, specifically Ed on drums, or Damien doing these vocals. I don't know if this song would sound the same with any other vocalist. I think Damien is perfect. He creates these wonderful, perfect, bright tones. Even in the darkness, he's creating these really cool, rich, bright tones. So very well done. I'm always impressed, man. I've been saying this since the beginning, since being introduced to Arion. I always liken him to Jeff Beck in so much as that he doesn't need a band. He doesn't need a band. He wants musicians. I hope that makes sense. And not only Jeff Beck in the sense of he doesn't want a band, he needs musicians. But like with Jeff Beck, when the phone rings and Arion's on the other end of that phone, you take the call, no matter who you are. And that's what's really impressive to me about a lot of what he's doing, is that he is collating all of these brilliant artists. And he has this sound, this audio vision in his head. And he knows exactly who he wants. And what's incredible is, like I said, every time that phone rings, they're there. If they can fit it in the schedule, bro, you got him. And Arion's the kind of guy who's like, okay, I'll wait till you can fit it in the schedule, because I want this exactly how I hear it in my head. And I trust that you can do that. And Jeff Beck was like that. Jeff Beck was that musician who understood, okay, I need a specific sound, a specific tone in this piece in my head. And I know exactly who I want to fill that. And when Jeff Beck calls, you answer. Same thing with Arion Lucassen. Arion Lucassen calls, no matter who the musician is. Here in America, I don't know if this translates to any type of idiom in your language, because I know I have a lot of foreign-speaking folks that watch my videos. In the United States, we have this expression, too big for your britches. Right? You're not too big for your britches. You're not so good I can't take you down a peg. Right? Kind of a thing. It's a way to humble somebody, is to say you're not too big for your britches. And Arion and Ayreon, Star One, Supersonic Revolution is a great example of that. How, while other people see these musicians in their own right, in their own way, in their own light, these musicians hold that, what you hold for them, they hold for Arion. And I find that remarkable. I really do. It's something that I missed when people talk to me about, the best periods of music. I'm always going to go back to the late 60s, early 70s, when it was the epitome of sharing, where it was, hey, I need a favor, I'm there. Whereas now it's, hey, I need a favor, all right, talk to my manager, talk to my lawyer, talk to the label, talk to this guy, before I can even contemplate taking the job, because that's how it's seen now. Whereas with Arion, and like I said, in the 60s and 70s, there was so much experimentation and so much exploration in rock itself that people were like, okay, I need a folk player, I need a banjo player, I need all of these different sounds to make this rock and roll song. And eventually you get this wonderful decade of music. And that wonderful decade of music that inspires this modernity, whether it's progressive rock of ELP, Yes, Moody Blues, Pink Floyd, whatever, or the progressive blues, which is really what Allman Brothers, Charlie Daniels, Molly Hatchet, that type of vibe, that soulful progressive rock, later became Southern rock, but I digress. I find it remarkable that Arion is able to not only hold on to that ideal of sharing, of exploration, of joining together the best and the brightest. He's taken that and made it what he does. I like I said, man, I have so much respect for the dude. Again, about the interview, I've already spoken on that. It was in my previous Arion. If you want to know more, join a live chat, ask me, and I will tell you exactly what happened with that. So thank you, Peter and Paul, for that suggestion. Arion and the Druids Turn to Stone. I believe it's from 2018 is the original recording there. So thank you guys for that suggestion. If you have a suggestion, head over to the Discord server, hit that reaction request tab, drop me a link and a little bit of info of what you would like me to check out, and I'm just going to try to crank through all of the suggestions in a most expeditious fashion, if I am able to. So thank you to Connect 200 Music to See and Aunt Betty's Nut Butter. Thank you to Peter and Paul for your suggestion today. Thank you to all of you for taking time out of your last-minute shopping to join me here on the east side of Nashville, Music City, USA. Make sure you're looking out for each other. Make sure you're looking out for your neighbor. Try to do at least one good thing a day. I am Eric Clark. This is The Wyldeside.